Hey everybody, massive good evening to you. Happy Friday, and I hope you're all well. This is a little bit of a bonus, and I came up with this idea. Generally, I'm off on Fridays, but I came up with this idea because of all the coaching calls I did on Wednesday and Thursday. There seemed to be a bit of a theme going on where people were in various different levels of awareness, and I titled this video, Don't Look Back in Anger. Of course, it's a really famous song if you grew up in the 90s. One of my favorite bands were Oasis, and Don't Look Back in Anger is one of their best hits. But I heard Bob Proctor say recently that his mentor, Leland Van Vanderwall, told him one time, Bob, don't look back in anger, don't look forward with worry, just look all around you with awareness. And that's what I see when I'm coaching people in our academy, people who really start to level up very, very fast. They gain a certain level of awareness of a few things. So number one, how easy it was when they got their thinking right. Number two, they understand why they weren't really kind of getting places for a long time. They really let go and they stop being so hard on themselves because they realize, how could I have gotten out of that prison until I actually realized and acknowledged that I was in one in the first place? And it sounds a bit extreme in a prison, but often we're in a kind of a mental prison because we're trying to figure all this out on our own. And I'm a very, very average golfer. I'd probably be like a 20 handicap. And there is no point in me going out there trying to improve my game with a 25 handicapper or a 20 handicapper. I would look at a coach or somebody who's going to really, really help me. And I've spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of hours studying personal development, studying myself, my own perceived limitations that I had. I've smashed through all of those, and thanks be to God, I've made a lot of changes, not only in the world around me, but inside as well. I feel very content, very happy. For the longest time, well, it's the longest time in my life because I'm 40 now, but for 35 years, my inner dialogue could very easily have been, you're a piece of crap, you're letting your wife down, you're letting your family down, like I really, really was very hard on myself. And I think maybe a lot of people can relate to that. I spoke with a very nice gentleman today from Cork who lives in Kildare now. And what he said was I was very relatable. He said there's a lot of bullshit out there. And I definitely don't talk bullshit. I do talk a lot of sense in a very kind of a relatable way. So yeah, I think everybody has that little inner critic, that inner voice nagging away. You're not good enough. Look at, you got too many pounds on you, or oh my God, the pandemic. I heard one person, the pandemic's over now, we're coming out, and I learned nothing. Like I could have played piano, I could have learned a language. Like people are so freaking hard on themselves, okay? So don't look back in anger, don't look forward in worry, just look around in awareness. Now, what is awareness? So this is a subject that I'm really looking forward to getting all of the members of the Academy down here to Valentia Island to do like an in-person retreat. We do a lot of virtual training. Anybody who's been with me for a year, it's been all virtual, of course, because it's been all virtual because of COVID, and that's been actually really good. But my God, the energy when we get together is going to be off the charts. And when we get together, I'm probably going to like put a big lock on the door, and I'm going to say, right, nobody's getting out of here until we agree that we're all going to be in the top 3 levels of awareness. So if you're watching this and you're going to stick with me for about 20-25 minutes, please grab a pen and paper, grab the back of an envelope, like whatever, tear a piece off the calendar on the wall. You got to write this down because this is going to make a big impact if you study it, study yourself, and really get into this, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to put number 1 on the top of the page and number 7 on the bottom. And we're going to talk about these 7 levels of awareness. And I want you to write down number 1, I want you to write down the word mastery. Mastery. That's a really, really important word. While you're maybe getting a piece of paper ready or writing down the numbers, I'm going to explain mastery, and I'm going to explain a little technique that I like to do every year. In 2017, I went to 2016, I went to Tony Robbins in London, walked across the hot coals, did the whole thing, jumping around and hooping and hollering for I think it was about 4 days. Unleash the Power Within was the name of the seminar. And in that seminar, Tony talked about having, first name basis. In that seminar, he talked about he would adopt a word a year. He would take on a word a year. And he said he asked everyone in the audience to take on a word. And the word that I took on was fulfillment, because at the time I was working as a full-time clinical acupuncturist. And we lived in a really small cottage, which I'm very grateful for. It was my granny and granddad's house. And I'm delighted that they built it so that my wife and kids and I could live there. But it was very, very small and very pokey and very cold. It cost a lot of money to heat it. And it wasn't really where I thought I would be with a family of 3 kids age 35, you know. So I was seeking more outside of me to validate myself and my own opinion of myself in this world. I really needed to, what I needed to do was just go inside and find out who I really was, I suppose. But I went to Tony Robbins anyway, and he said, adopt a word that year. And the word that I adopted was the word fulfillment. Because like that's one thing I really like about what we do here, especially in Ireland with personal development. Irish people have a very, very healthy level of skepticism, and they have a high bullshit radar. And I don't stand in front of a hired out car with a swimming pool in the background going, we're going to change your life, you know, and all these kind of hand gestures that would indicate that, you know, we're just really, really real. And that wouldn't have worked for me at all. So one of the things that I decided to do was kind of be my own best client first, be my own best student, like work on myself first before I would ever think that I could say to somebody, you know, you can change your life. So I spent the last 5 years doing that. And the first thing that I aimed for was not glitz and glamour and glory and money and cars and stuff like that. It was fulfillment. Because, you know, Tony Robbins spoke in that seminar about one of the top 8 investors in the world is his client. It's $1 million a year to work with him. And this client bought a baseball team, brought them to the World Series, they won it, and he still lacked fulfillment. So he's like, okay, well, baseball is not really my thing. So he bought an American football team, got them promoted, and then got them up the franchises to a top team, spent $200 million on a player or something like that. Still not fulfilled. And then Tony Robbins brought him to Chernobyl, I think it was. And there was children there who needed, like they were sitting on the ground and crawling and stuff like that, and they needed wheelchairs. And this gentleman set up a foundation to build and ship wheelchairs to these locations and other locations around the world. You know what he found? He found inner peace, contentment, and fulfillment. So I adopted that word that year. And then every year I've adopted a different word. And the last year, 2020, was mastery. For me, it was mastery. Now, what I've learned about the word mastery is that you know, Tiger Woods, one of the best golfers that I ever remember, because all the other legends had stopped playing at a high level when I started watching golf. So Tiger is really, again, first name basis. Tiger Woods is really, for me, the best golfer I've ever seen in my lifetime. But when he was at the top and he'd won 18 majors or something, he went adjusting his swing and changing this and that. So he was a gentleman that would clearly indicate he's trying to attain mastery. And mastery is actually very hard to attain, but I think the true masters of anything are always working on themselves and always trying to learn and always trying to get better and trying to do more, you know, trying to understand themselves more. So I want you to put number 1, mastery. Put that right at the top. If you're at the top level of awareness in whatever you're at, Serena Williams is at mastery when it comes to tennis. I would say Roger Federer or Nadal or Djokovic are at mastery when it comes to, you know, their stats, like what they're doing now, how, you know, the points per this and per that. And I mean, it's just incredible what these people are doing. So mastery, the human race is jumping into mastery in computers, in so many different things, in health. You know, we're really getting to mastery in lots of things, but we're probably only scratching the surface when we think about it, you know. Mastery is at the top, number 1. Number 7 then is animal. So very animalistic tendencies. Now we're human beings and we are, you know, we're apart from the animal kingdom. But sometimes our behaviors, losing our temper, punching someone, fighting, it's a very animalistic behavioral pattern. The person that you love, you share your life with, you share your bed with, and you've conceived children with and had children with, like you could be animals towards each other. You can like shout at each other, you can hurt each other, even your own children, you know, you could actually be like an animal, like you could just be like rah, you know, lose your temper. So animal is the bottom level, and it's where we react. We don't respond to things, we're reacting. Then the next stage above that, so let's say you're done with being a shouter or a shouting parent, or somebody who hears something about, oh, I heard this one said that about you, and you're sitting at home trying to watch TV that night, and you're kind of like going over it in your mind, and like that's a very like lack of self-control. You know, that's the lowest level of awareness, so far as I know in what I've studied. Anyway, I am not a guru, I can tell you, but this is what I've learned in the last 5 years. Now the next level above that is the mass level. It's okay, I'm sick of this. What's everyone else doing? Okay, so if I want to be a hairdresser, what's everyone else doing in the hairdressing business? Think about it, especially in the barbering business. You know, why is it all like mafia wallpaper, you know, this kind of music playing, you know, like why is the decor all the same in all these places? You know, Goodfellas and Al Capone and like, you know, like why, like it's not everywhere. There's a lot of individuals out there as well, and I'll talk about individualism in a minute. But a lot of people start off with, okay, if I want to be a car salesman or a car salesperson, then I'll need the big glassy showroom on the outskirts of town with the thing and the thing and the thing. Like, why not be a little bit different? Why not be a trend, you know, unique and do something a bit different? And these are always the ones that can kind of stand out a little bit. So animal level is number 7. Number 6 is mass. What is everyone else doing? I'll do that. Let me check and see what the rest are doing. Now, the majority of people live, in fact, 97% of the people in the world live somewhere between mass and animal. You know, primary, secondary school, get a good education, college, come out of college, look for a job, get a job, work in that for 30-something years. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm not peeing all over that whatsoever. You know, that's a lot of what a lot of people do, and they are born and they live and they die and they've had a great life. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking it at all. But I think the amount of people, the people that I tend to work with, people in my field, you know, personal development or whatever it was, human growth and potential, corporate, whatever, going up the ladder. I mean, has anyone ever actually walked up a ladder? Isn't it just a phrase? In fact, what you're doing is you're personally developing. So the people that I work with are people who are really done with those 2 levels, and they find themselves thinking about the next level. So they can't just sit down and watch a movie. They think, I want to do that. You know, they really are being tapped at. And I believe that's actually a divine kind of a push, you know, where you, like, I keep seeing the same thing over and over. I keep hearing the same thing. Something's calling me. It's like a calling. Now, in fact, the more you get into this, you start to realize that your desire is being, we all experience desire. You know, if you have an interest in finding a partner, you'll see someone and you'll be like, oh, Jesus, you know, you'll turn your head or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So we all understand what desire is. If you've got children and there's an advert on telly and they're concentrating on something else, you'll see the desire for that toy. It's big, it's loud, it's exciting, it's colorful, it's entertaining. The desire takes their attention away from what they're doing. Now, desire it's described as the effort of the unexpressed possibilities within you, seeking expression outside of you through your action. Desire is the unexpressed it's the effort. Now the effort, it's like, come on, Declan, get your shit together. We could be doing more with our life. Come on. It's the effort. It's trying to get out of you. If you ever heard of the inner child, like, think of your desire like a better version of you, say, come on, you can do it. And a lot of people block that off with some sort of maybe an addiction, eating. It's like, oh, I want to do that. I can't. Who am I? Sure, who am I to do that? And I believe the opposite of desire is desire being expressed is frustration. But anyway, we're starting off at level 7, animal. Next level, mass. Level above that, number 7, 6, 5 is individual. So you've made a decision. Do you know what? This is my time. Now, often when people strike that little nerve to boom, go that level, they've been at a funeral and they've seen someone their own age go by and they're like, you know what, this, like, you know what, I need to change. Like, or if something happens and they go, wow, life is so bloody short. I get one shot at this. Like, this is not this is not a trial run for the next time. And there's a wake up call, you know. And for many people, I don't know why 2020 wasn't a wake up call. You know, it's like very quickly, can't wait to get back to minis and back to, you know, like, back to doing what they were doing. Like, it was a gift in many ways for that wake up call for the masses. You know, it's like doing everything that you said you wanted to do. That's going back 100 years now. Do this, do that, follow this, follow that. Retire at 65 and you're done. Like, a lot of people are creating multiple sources of income now. A lot of people have really woken up last year, but a lot haven't, and that's okay too. Let's move on. The individualism is usually instigated by a feeling inside or a world event outside. Now, you get to that individual stage, and then you start looking for someone. So that's who we attract. We have 1,400 members in one of our groups that I'm streaming into here, 1,500 now. It's called the Thoughts Become Things community, because people feel these thoughts, and they're like, how do I make that into a thing? Okay, I need a website. I need a bank loan. I need something. And they're the 24-hour handicap golfer wanting to become a professional or a scratch golfer. They've never done it before. Mom and dad's never had a business. Oh, what am I going to do? And that's why we meet people. We find them on our master classes, or they watch a webinar. They speak to one of my amazing team, and they come to that stage. But that's the place where you need someone to take you by the hand and walk you to the next level, because you are maybe a lot of the people around you have never been there. So that's why there is this thing called mentorship and coaching, and that's what I do for a living, and that's what my team helped me to do for a living, and they're incredible. So when you decide that you are going to do something else, you're aspiring to do something else. So you're in this next level. So we got animal, mass, individual, and aspirational. So if you're an individual, you can really quickly slip back down. You'll find an excuse that slips you back down into the, sure, I can't do that. I heard that Padraig tried it, and it never worked for him. So and that's a thing called a paradigm, and that's a whole other exercise. But the paradigm is what keeps you very, very safe if you're near a cliff edge, or very, very safe if you're going up the ladder, putting up the Christmas lights, and it's cold and you're trying to rush it. Your safety net, your paradigm is like, come on, now, stay safe. So when you're starting to think about these individual, oh, I could do this now, and you get a bit aspirational, your paradigm is going to get rattled, and it's like, hang on a minute. Let's see who's on here. William, hang on a minute. William's changing. Hang on a minute. Reed is changing, and it starts to rattle you in the same way that you're near a cliff edge, and it's like, come back, come back, come back. Or in the same way that you're maybe with somebody in the car and they're driving too fast, and you kind of start pressing your foot into the floor and you're putting your hands on the dash, or when the plane goes into turbulence, you kind of start gripping onto the seat as if that's going to help you if it goes down. But still, it's a safety thing. It's your paradigm is a little bit of like, who the hell do you think you are now with this individualism and this aspirational silliness? Cop on to yourself. Open a glass of wine and just cop on, get back in your box there. So it's very, very rare that people burst out of that on their own, those 4 levels: animal, mass, individual, and aspirational. But you've got to act on them. And there's 2 things that are really, in my experience, that help you to get out of there. If the desire is bigger than your present limitations, and that has happened before, like, have you ever seen someone choking and you ran over and got the Heimlich going? Or in my experience, I saw a fella falling into the River Lee, and I kind of coached him to grab onto the vines that were, what would you call them, the ivy that was hanging off the Beamish and Crawford Brewery, and he held on in the freezing cold until the fire services came. Like, I nearly jumped. I didn't jump in because I would have been swept away myself, but I screamed at him like I was a 20-year-old. I was half drunk at the time. I was a student, but I sobered up and I screamed at him like Davy Fitz. For those of you who know hurling, I was like, "You don't let go of that. You hear me?" Like, my desire to keep him alive changed me instantly. So you don't break out of those 4 levels until something really desire is inside of you, or the other one is a committed decision. That is it, I'm doing it. And you've got to act fast on that decision. So many of you might have been on a coaching call or some sort of a meeting with somebody where I want to do something, and you might have heard the price, or you might have whatever. And that's what you need to invest to get there. Now, I've been there many, many times myself, and now I don't question it. I say, can this person help me, yes or no? And then I pay them what they deserve, and that's it. Because I know I'm going to get back 5 times at least. It's usually 9 times. Very, very quickly, you make it back like 9 times over. Maybe not in cash value, but in intelligence, in skill set, whatever. You will. So just please never let money stand in your way, regardless of whether it's with ourselves or anyone else. It is it's a man-made construct. It's just an idea. And if your intuition is right, you're not being scammed. You're just afraid, and that's okay too. You've never gone there, so you ran back. So that's why people rarely break forward, because they need a professional. If I need to improve my golf, I need a professional, and I'm going to expect to pay him or her. If I need help from a friend, I can't keep asking them to come out on the course. And if I have a person who's playing off a very low handicap, first of all, I'm not going to really learn from them because they're a friend, and I might be able to tell them to flip off. So that's why you need to invest in yourself to get out of these 4 levels. So let's go to the top 3 levels of those 7. I'm going to mix them up. I'm going to go from mastery down. From mastery, to get that level where I feel very masterful over thought energy now, over getting ideas and deciding, do I want to accept or reject that? Geez, that'd be very expensive now to do that job. And I go, I want the job done, so let's go for it. Okay, fine, I'll do the job. I don't worry anymore about that type of stuff. Not because I have income or whatever, but I have it now because I stopped worrying about it. Because when you worry about it, you repel it. When you decide you want it, you attract it. So if you hear about the law of attraction, it's a secondary law. First law is vibration. So you control your vibration when you live in mastery of thinking. And I don't care if you're a solicitor, a barber, a dentist, a doctor, a footballer, a basketballer, a mom or a dad, a stay-at-home mom or whatever it is, hardest job in the world, by the way. I don't care if your dream is to is to lower your golf handicap or to go from amateur to professional sports. Everything you're doing is thoughts, everything, mindset, teaching, whatever, working in a factory, whatever. You're dealing with your mindset all of the time. Even when you're asleep, your mind is working. It's getting you to wake up with limiting beliefs and go to sleep with the same limiting beliefs. If you want to change your mindset, you need these top 3 things. Number 1 is mastery, and you get there from working on yourself. Number 1 is mastery. Number 2 is experience, and number 3 is discipline. And of all 7, that is the light that puts the whole. That's the match that strikes up the whole thing. There was a song one time there was a band called the Stereophonics, and they had a song, and I can't think what it was called, but there was a line. It takes one tree to make 1,000 matches. It only takes one match to burn 1,000 trees. Now it's probably like a Japanese haiku or something. I don't know, but it was a song that they played, and I was a big indie fan, and I remember that line. And it only takes one decision to change your whole life. And when you decide that animalistic thinking and reacting to everything and sitting at home pretending to be happy, but meanwhile biting your nails down to the bone, and pretending to be happy in front of your kids or your spouse or your work colleagues, but inside that's the animal, that's the lowest level, and it's not a good place to be. The next level above that is I'm doing what everyone else is doing, asking Bridie what does she think, or Padraig what does he think. They're not qualified to tell you. You need to talk to a professional, whether it's a counselor, a psychotherapist, or whatever, a coach, somebody who can help you to move up a little bit. But animal level, mass level, the next level is that where you're starting to aspire to do more and become an individual. And those 4 is where most people live. They jump between all of those all of the time. You think you're doing something, and all it takes is one person to go, really? Sure, you never did that before. Who are you to do that? Boom, straight down from individual to mass. To break out of those 4 levels and to get into the top 3, the most important one, the match that burns 1,000 trees, is discipline. And I know the minute I say that, people are going to start probably, switching off. Yeah, that's not me. I can never be disciplined. He doesn't know me at all. I've got no discipline. My mom and dad, no discipline. Like, I'll be eating chocolate cake now tonight, and I'll finish it, and I'll be like, oh, for feck's sake, why did I do that? Everyone has discipline, but you're misdirecting your discipline. You're disciplined in doing the wrong things. You're disciplined in thinking wrong. You're thinking, like, filtering the thoughts incorrectly. Not thinking wrong, but filtering your thoughts a little bit incorrectly. All I want to say to you is that we're all persistent and we're all very, very disciplined, but we're just not doing it for what we want. So if you're going to become disciplined, you've got to create something that you desire to go after. Remember what I said? I had a desire to keep that man alive. I sobered up instantly. I jumped in front of a taxi. I put my hands on the bonnet, and I was like, ring the guards, there's a guy on the river now. Are you still with me? I was like, I really ran the show. There was people just standing there going, this guy's got it. And I actually went back to the Garda station about 3 days later, and they wouldn't tell me any information about him. It was really tough. I wanted to find out. So if any of you ever heard of this guy in Cork, please let me know, because I went back and I searched to find out what had happened, and they were like, it's confidential, we can't tell you. So I don't know actually. I'm sidetracking here in this particular presentation. But anyway, mastery of thinking is going to make for beautiful relationships, attracting the right people, attracting money, attracting situations. Like, you really are going to be a very, very, very good person. You're going to feel very grounded, very happy, very confident, very self-assured. You're not really going to care if people are slagging you off or, talking crap about. It doesn't matter anymore. You just don't care. You feel very masterful about life, and you're grand. You can go out I go to the shop sometime, tracksuit, I look a bit rough. I don't really care anymore. I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore. And I live my life trying to impress people. And then if I got any praise, it was like, I can't cope with that, So mastery for me is different than mastery for you. Mastery for you is for you. And whatever it means to you to be able to to create a long-lasting relationship, to be able to forgive that person who's really screwed you over, whatever mastery means to you, it's your birthright, and you deserve to live in a very peaceful, fulfilled, masterful, easy life, very happy life. And you know what? You can experience that very quickly when you go. So remember, mastery, experience. The next one down there is discipline. You have got to be disciplined to get your desires, and it doesn't work that way. You've got to create the desire. If you learn anything from this evening, first of all, you've learned the 7 levels of awareness, but secondly, please circle discipline. Please circle discipline. I have become disciplined when I started going after what I truly want. And what I wanted was built it. I'm making up the words. What I went after was built on my desire. And I had to go after what I wanted once and for all. Not what do I think my mom and dad wants me to be when like, what's the legacy I want to leave behind for my kids? It was all like outside validation. I had to be very selfish, actually. Selfish is not, people think selfishness is greed. It's not. Like, you got to be selfish with your diet, you know? You've got to be selfish with certain things. If you want to change your body, you've got to be selfish with your time and take that hour 3 or 4 days a week to go to the gym. You have to be selfish with your study. You've got to, I love my children. I love to play all the time with them. But when daddy's studying, like I told him now, my wife's away for the night and the 3 kids are watching TV. And I was like, daddy's going live now. You cannot interrupt, you know, no matter what you need, don't interrupt me. I'm being selfish with my time. So selfishness is not a bad thing, but selfishness around your desires. What do you want? What does Noel Moore want? What does Judith want? What does Yelena want? What does Susan want? What does Orna? What does Orna want? It's got to be yours. I was giving all of my happiness away because I'm going to do it for June. I'm going to do it for those kids. They're going to be so proud of me. I'm going to show my community. I'm going to show my mom and dad. And it was wrong. Like, it was wrong. I was aiming for the wrong things. When I started going after what Declan O'Donoghue wanted, everybody got the best of me then. My wife has got the best husband I could be. My kids have got the best dad I could be. I hope I do enough for my community. I certainly do everything I can for my clients and my team. But I sleep so well. I don't have, you know, feelings of getting sick when I look at a dinner. I really had a really, really bad relationship with anxiety, in fact. And that's gone now. So of all the 7 levels of awareness, you ignite all of them when you're disciplined. When you're a disciplined person, like, I can certainly, something can happen to me, something could happen at school that could make me go right down into, I'm gonna, like, there's, one of my kids was being really badly treated by a person in their class, and really not fair. And, going to school and saying, can you help us with this? And they're like, well, we need support, this, we're not getting, like, you really get angry because you can only do so much to help the situation, and you need everybody who's involved in the situation to be on board. That can drive you from mastery down to animal. Like, if one of your kids are being bullied, it really, really is one of those catalysts that would make you just, but you stop for a second and you realize, I'm not going to serve her by being on this level. I'm not going to help the school by being on this level. I got to rise back up again. And you'll rise back up again with discipline. Discipline really, really helps you to get back to that level. And the more you practice anything, the better you get. Every Saturday night is homemade pizza night here, and we're all experts at making dough from scratch, because we've done it every year through lockdown. It's now a thing, or every Saturday through lockdown. It's Saturday night pizza with Anton Deck, or Saturday night pizza with whatever. Oh, here they are now interrupting. Joni, I'm live. You can't interrupt me, honey. Well, you can, I suppose, because you're disciplined at it. Huh?
Tim said, will you sit down?
I will. Oh, did he say a bad word?
He said,
sit down. Okay, will you go close the door?
He said, will you sit
down? Wow, did you hear that? So anyway, like, when you learn discipline, like, okay, so we've all learned how to make pizza dough and we can make it no problem. If you keep practicing discipline, you can rise up every single time, no matter what happens in your life. No matter what happens, you rise back up. But you've got to practice it, not just for a little while, all the time. And that's kind of, I suppose, what we do, certainly in our academy. We have people who, like, we have 102 members in our group at the moment. Everybody that I work with, I pretty much know them all personally at this stage. They all have very different backgrounds, very different goals, and very different set of circumstances. So you've got their environment, their past, their present paradigm, and their goals. And they're all different, but every single one of them gets there the same way, by going after what they truly want, cutting out all the crap that they know won't get them there. And then there's this freedom, there's this happiness, there's this joy. And just like the kids here, if they have tasted a breakfast cereal and it's sugary and it's nice, when they're in SuperValu, they're going to be like, ooh, I want that, I want that. Well, adults are no different. When you set out a beautiful goal, like, that's the first thing we do when people join the academy. They set a goal that they truly want. When they're going after it, they know that this person is not going to get that goal. So they start cutting out all the crap that they don't want anymore, bad thinking, bad habits, and they start to form discipline. Like, we've got a thing called the 6 a.m. club. So everyone logs on at 6 o'clock. They study in silence. they have a little chat at the end and they go about their day. But they've taken probably a coffee, probably a water. They've taken like 10 kgs of mind vitamins and confidence and power, and they go into their day well set. I mean, imagine getting all that done by 7 a.m. How does your life change if you're 5 days a week between 6 and 7 getting yourself focused on what you want? So they create a desire, they get disciplined on it, and after that they start to feel changes, they start to see changes, and then people start going, what's changed about you? There's something different about you. And that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to say tonight, the 7 levels of mastery. Animal on the bottom, mastery on the top, and the main way that you don't drop down is that you get disciplined, and you will become a disciplined person when you're going after your desires. So thanks for watching. I look forward to reading back all these comments. What I want you to do, someone said to me, speak Spanish. Gosh, I would like to, but I haven't learned it. Maybe if I was disciplined in studying Spanish, I would be able to learn it. So everybody, I would like to say thanks to Judith. That was the best. I think that was the interruption. Who from Joni. Yeah, she's great. She's our little Joni Mitchell. Dylan is after Bob Dylan, and Layla is after the Clapton song. It's great name actually, Layla, because we've got Tristan and Isolde, we got Diarmuid and Grania in all the different cultures. We got Romeo and Juliet, and they're all from the same original story, which was Layla and Majdouk, I think was his name. So Clapton got the song Layla from that, and my wife is crazy about literature, so I'm crazy about music. She's crazy about literature, and Layla came up with that, and then Dylan is Bob Dylan and Joni is Joni Mitchell. So there we are, total hippies, eh? So everyone, look, thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you everybody over on TikTok, a little TikTok live. Check me out and hip with the young people. So thanks. Share this around with people. I'm watching. This is live on YouTube as well. Copy and share this on your Facebook page. That's one of my goals. Actually, is to have 1 million followers in social media in 2020. So anything you can do to help me with that would be great. And yeah, I'm grateful for the idea that chose me tonight, and hopefully some of the 30 people that were over on Facebook and YouTube watching live and watching replay, let me know what you thought. Please comment and say, you know what, Declan, this was good, or geez, you talk a load of crap, or whatever. I'm okay with trolls as well. Let's hear what level of awareness you're all at. And thank you very, very much. Okay, bye. Cancel. End broadcast over there.